about this. It's not only when we are saying like food, it is not only about the like eating and all, but all our like five senses. How I eat, maybe what is the things I look outside. Maybe I would like to watch maybe TV, lot of serials and everything. Even that also specifically Gurudev highlighted. Maybe I am fond of like listening music. So there should be also, we should have a control on those things. And Gurudev in commentary mentioned about the like all these things and Acharya's reference, and that is from like Shatapatra Brahmana, which is like a very good things given by Yajnavalkya. And even in Gita chapter, which is about like 17th chapter, it is talking specifically about the food also. So what should be eaten, what should not be eaten, and especially the categories for the like Sattva-guni people, what they eat, Rajoguni what they eat, Tamoguni what they eat, and how much it is like very well Gurudev explained. But just to another thing is about like when we say like bhiksha, how we accept bhiksha. So whatever it is sufficient with the, which can be contained in your like two hands. So that is how like bhiksha, and we should not exceed over to that. Arium, those are my few thoughts. Thank you.
Hariom, Manish ji. Manish.
No video, no audio.
I think his line is cut off. Pradeep ji, can you lead?
Hariom, who is next? Dilip ji, would you like to speak? Hariom, Dilip ji.
Hariom, Prajip ji, I'm not prepared. Hariom.
Okay, okay. Then Girish ji.
Pradeep ji, I have already messaged to Manish ji, I will not be speaking today.
Okay, okay.
I don't know what happened to Manish.
Sudesh ji is there, huh? Sudesh ji.
I don't have anything to share. Thank you. Hariom.
Nagaraj ji.
Yeah, I have some points from my understanding. Hariom. Jai Shri Krishna. Having composed our body and composed our mind, we sit in meditation. My take on the sloka 15 is Lord Krishna is teaching Arjuna to keep your body firm, keep your do it regularly, do it sincerely, do the meditation sincerely, regularly. And then he's telling us the results of action in a different way. I mean, he's teaching so that it's simple for a human, for a person like Arjuna or people like us to understand what is the end result, which culminates in total liberation or attains the peace abiding in me. There's two lines that has been Balaji ji also spending a lot of time in that, and I really understood a lot of concepts from Balaji ji. Let me come to the point of saying, as if the meditative experiences the peace that resides in me I think if I have to dwell a little bit more on that, me is the divinity, Lord Krishna, or divinity inside every human being that we are born with. So attainment of or realization of peace that all of us are destined to experience when we do meditation. Then the goal gained becomes an object different from the meditator. Whenever we work in a business environment or in any environment for that matter, we've always been told that, you know, if you are inside a situation, you'll not be able to realize it. So then you look at from a different angle, look at from the top perspective, so that we understand it differently. So the way I've understood that sentence is, we understand and look at ourselves very objectively. We look at the meditator. The soul looks at the body. The soul looks at the human body as a completely different person. And then I feel is what we are talking here about, the soul realization. We understand possibly that we are just using this body for a temporary phase of time in this life, and then we move on to the next body till we realize that actually there is a soul and that there is a body, and we are utilizing this only for a limited amount of time. I was trying to understand what is Nirvana and what is Moksha. I'm sure Sanjay ji, please consider this as my request to guide us a little bit more about these two words. But my humble take on that matter is, again, from whatever I have understood of Nirvana, is the end to my rebirth. Nirvana, which is the purpose of my life in this life. Like we have discussed earlier, the paintings or the mural paintings that we have seen of Buddha is the way they have depicted Buddha's head or hair, and it's got a different. I'm sure all of us have seen that it is completely different from the common body that we see of a human being, but the head is completely different. And if we are able to spend a little bit time on that, I think we'll be able to understand the experiences might be, or the symbolism behind it possibly. But for me, the Nirvana comes back to the point of the end to all my rebirths. And what is moksha? I mean, it's also another different word, I presume, or I'm trying to understand. Moksha is, my take is no rebirth. You've attained, you left the world to be with the Lord, as some spiritual gurus have taught us, or go back to the Lord, or let's say the divinity in you. But anyway, for me, I have also taken that word meditation in a completely different way. I think I don't want to be proven right or wrong, obviously, but I'm open to understanding. Is meditation not only is restricted to 5 minutes of our time on a daily basis, or 15 minutes of our time on a daily basis. I think equipoise in body, equipoise in mind, during the other times of the day is also meditation. Is when we are entering into a meeting, during the meeting, during the time of dismissing a person, if we are able to be in equipoise in the body and mind, I think that is where slowly Lord Krishna is explaining to us in a different way. remaining of the day is not, is how we live our life or how we interact with people. We have to create that initial setup is meditate, sitting and all stuff. And then slowly we evolve that we have that equipoise in other times of the day. I try to understand about balance and the controlled two words. Thus, always keeping the mind balanced, the yogi with his mind controlled. I try to understand what I understood of balanced is equipoise in everything, and a control is where the intellect plays a huge part of it. So a conscious effort has to be done. That is the balanced meaning of the word balanced. And once we are fine-tuning our intellect, it becomes a subconscious reaction over a period of time, where then it becomes a controlled situation. Sloka 16, food, eating habits, that is enough for you, doesn't sleep too much, doesn't eat too much, not who's always awake, is what I take from the Sloka 16. But then the assessment of the interpretation is do what is necessary for yourself, what you think is necessary. Swamiji Nanda very clearly drawing a conclusion from these standards, we may understand the rule to be eat whatever comes to us handy without creating unnecessary distraction. So there is an equipoise that we have to understand by ourselves what our body needs. How much do we need to eat, or how much time we need to give ourselves to meditate, or work in moderation. Don't eat too much. Don't overwork yourself, whether it is in the business environment or attachment to family responsibilities. I think that is what I have interpreted in this. Intelligent moderation is the law in everything. Hari Om. Jai Sri Krishna.
Hari Om.
Firstly, my apologies. Actually, there was some malfunction and I just lost the connection. Couldn't come back. Rajendranji, would you like to? I believe we have not spoken, Rajendranji, or I don't know if you have spoken.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hari Om. Today we are discussing 15 and 16 stanzas. Actually, in the morning while I was reading the text, I was wondering why this Dhyana Yoga, where do we stand? Lord Krishna and Arjuna are standing in the midst of the battlefield. And Bhagavan is talking about Dhyana, the meditation. I was thinking, what is the logic? This is the time to wage war. And where is the question of going for a meditation? This was what I was thinking in the morning, early morning. Then, the certain answers are coming from within, without our even knowledge, that every war has to finally end in peace. So, though Lord Krishna has tried his level best to prevent this war, nothing has gone to the ears of Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra. That was the occasion. Whatever you speak to him, Duryodhana, he would not listen. My son, don't go for a war. This is totally destructive. Many people will be killed, property will be destroyed, and it doesn't worth. Initially, he advised him. Dhritarashtra advised him, but he was not listening at all. This is the point, at time I think about. He was saying, Papa, Father, whatever you know, I know. The truth is revealed. Truth of this world is revealed equally to both of us. Yada bhavan veti tadasmi veta. Bhava bhavo mein vididau yadarte. Swartehi sammuhyati tada logaha. Mamcha logaltmagameva vidhi. Whatever is the truth, that is equally revealed to both of us. My dear Father, the world is going towards selfishness, and me too. I am traveling to the same path, through the same path. Mam eva logatmagam eva vidyam. I am also going in the world like the world goes. So this was his point of argument. For such people, where is the question of meditation? It will never go in his mind, in his thoughts. But for a seeker, it is the other way. For a seeker always has to find the truth. Why this war and why this all this destruction and all? Every moment this is happening in one way or the other. So this was the first thing I was thinking when I was reading this text. Here now, after concluding the position of sitting and balancing the mind, now comes to stanza Yunjan Nevam Sadatmanam Yogi Niyada Manasaha Shandim Nirvana Paramam Mams Mal Samsthanam Adhigachadi. That means thus always keeping the mind balanced. Here the word balanced is very important. With his mind, yogi with his mind controlled attains the peace abiding in me, which culminates in total liberation, nirvana or moksha. So again, we are talking about the nirvana or moksha. Nirvana is basically, Sanjay ji was the other day saying that it is belonging to that Buddhist use this word nirvana. But here the term sada, as you all have discussed this, the term always should not be misunderstood as suggesting that the practitioner should thereby come to live criminally neglecting all duties towards his home and the world around himself. So for a grihastha, this is a very vital point that we have to always think about, because worldly duties or homely duties has to be perfectly performed. In a way, the balanced word is targeting or pointing to that thing, that aspect, because we all are, grihasthas, we have some normal homely duties. So those duties have to be perfectly performed. Then only the mind will attain some balance. Otherwise, mind will here and naturally it will vacillate here and there. So that concentration cannot be achieved. Hence, the term always only connotes a duration. That is always means during the tenor of, as Balaji mentioned, during the tenor of the meditation, constant duration of constant and consistent inner silence during one's meditation. Nanduji was mentioning a Marathi, he was quoting a Marathi lines. We have in similar lines, Yadonu Kanuadu Narayana Pradima Yadonu, whatever we see should be Narayana Pradima, the idol of Narayana. And whatever we listen to is Narayana Shruti, the music of the Lord, Narayana. This is the way. Equal, similar lines are there in Malayalam also. So then comes to what is that? Another point I have noted. One more point. It is beyond this matter, and in this portion of stanza, it may look as though Krishna is advocating dualistic school of philosophy. Since here it is said, the meditator reached the peace which is my own nature. The nature of the Lord is peace itself. The meditator reached the peace which is my own nature. To conceive of a truth having qualities is to reduce the eternal and infinite and finite status of the substance dravya. So Bhagavan is nirguna. That we are the point we have to nirguna. He is beyond the gunas. Again, so that is one point I have noticed. Then coming back to the end of the truth, whose see the language used here is, in short, when the meditator has to come to the moment of perfect silence within, he comes to experience at first a peace that is unknown in the world without. Soon as it were, the experiencer gets slowly acted upon and digested into the very substance of the truth, whose fragrance was the peace, which is the dying ego of the meditator, and his gasping delusion seems to experience at the gateway of his own real divine nature. In fact, the last stage of fulfillment in meditation, the meditator awakens to his own status of selfhood. This Advaita experience is the one sole factor that has been repeated at all hands all over Krishna's song divine. So this is the point we have to note in this 15th stanza. And coming to 16th, Natyashanastu yogosti na chaigatmana na chaigandamashnataha na cha adiswapna silasya jagrado neva charjuna. Moderation is the point of discussion in every aspect, in food and in sleep. Verily, yoga is not possible for him who eats too much, nor for him who does not eat and remains lonely, nor for him who sleeps too much, nor for him who is always awake, O Arjuna. There is a saying in, regarding this food, Ega Bhukti, Yogi, Dvibhukti, Bhogi, Tribhukti, Rogi, and Chadurbhukti, Pavi, which means the one who eats once in a day, he is yogi. Who eats twice is said to be rogi, sick person. And thrice who eats is a one who eats once is yogi, twice bhogi, thrice is rogi, and one who eats four times is papi, is a sinner. So this is jokingly in the spiritual circles, Swamis speak about this intake of food. The stanza is focusing that it should be a perfectly balanced diet, and it should be not too much. it should be moderate. That is the stanza says. Then moderation in indulgence and activities in all levels of one's personality is an unavoidable prerequisite which alone can assure the true success in meditation. That is the point. That is the point which has to be noted here. Intemperateness would bring discordant and righteous agitation in various layers of matter, shattering the harmonious melody in the life of integration. Therefore, strict moderation in food, sleep, and recreation is enjoined. Everything should be well measured and completely defined. The stanza ends with a keyword, and Shankara Bhagavad-pada's instruction, also Shatapada Brahmanas, which has been already read. I will end. In this it is rightly said that neither too much sleep, which unnecessarily dulls our faculties and renders the individual more and more gross, nor no sleep at all is the right policy for a student in the spiritual life. Here, intelligent moderation is the law. Intelligent moderation. Nothing should be too much and nothing should be too low. That would create the problems because we won't be able to concentrate. The problem is to balance the mind. Moderation is very much required. So that is the reason, eat whatever comes to us handy. That is the point, but without creating unnecessary destruction to the living kingdom. To the living kingdom. That is the point we have to always remember. Without creating unnecessary destruction to the living kingdom, just for our personal existence. So what a beautiful words. And intelligently consume a quantity which does not load our stomach, which should not be stomach should not be overloaded. This is the golden rule of dieting for a successful meditator. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Sharma ji.
No, Manish, I'll not be speaking.
Okay, no problem. Pradeep ji, would you like to share your views?
Hari Om. Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi niyatamanasah Shantim nirvana paramam matsamstam adhigacchati Natyas nadastu yogosti nacha ekanta manasnatah Nacha ati swapna shilasya jagrato na evacha Arjuna. So earlier verse we said that it is Prashantatma Vigadabi Brahmachari Vrde Sthita Mana Samyamya Machittaha Yukta Asita Matparaha. That me as the supreme goal sit. So what to do then, or what happens then is explained here. So this word Yunjan is a present continuous. It is called Shatrandam and all that. Yunjan, the one who is in yoga, the state of present continuous. It is happening. So that means like the Passion, expression like that. This seeing like that, this is meditating. So it is a present continuous process. So Yunjan evam sada atmanam yogi niyata manasa. So that word meaning which we have discussed, sada, whether it is to be for the time on the seat of meditation or it is ever, is answered there actually. Gurudev is telling in another context. So here it is Yunjan, means present continuous. It is always, I mean, you are always in the state of meditation. It is called the, being in the state of meditation. That is the sahaja bhava. So that is what it is. But what Gurudev says is for the irresponsible seekers who pretends that they does the meditation, and I am doing so much meditation, 4 hours of meditation and all these things. So for them, he's saying that don't go into, getting into, that what you call criminally neglecting all his duties towards his home and the world around himself. So for such person, I think it's my thought that he is saying that it is only for the person who is sitting on the seat of meditation, and that also it is for a beginner. That if you have to say 24 hours, then you go mad. But basically, that is what it is. But this particular verse talks about is that the one who is established in that state. That doesn't mean that you sit and do meditation. It is a state of meditation. You being in the state of meditation. Such a yogi who has controlled the mind, what he gets, Shantim, Nirvana Paramam, Mat Samstam, Adhigachati. And it is all explained that it is that not a state to be reached. It is your own nature which you attain. And so Nagaraj said some fundamental questions, which that is, what is moksha? We should have this thought in our mind that what for we are doing this meditation and what is it. So that unless we know answers to these questions, we will not have that clarity on that. So moksha means what? Moksha is basically of coming out of all the encumbrances, the limitations, the bondages of the life in which we are in. So that is what the Gurudev's Rajendranji has said very clearly, that the verse ends with the Gurudev's beautiful statement that this Advaita experience is the one sole factor that has been repeated all over Krishna's divine song. Irrespective of the fact that people will say that it has been advised in the war front to Arjuna to be active, to get out on but throughout the unbroken chain is the Advaita experience. Advaita Amrita Varshini is what it is, that Parthaya Pradibodhidam Bhagavadam Narayanena Swayam. What is that? Advaita Amrita Varshini Bhagavati Ashtadashadhyayini Ambatvam Anusandadami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshini. She removes the bhava. The bhava means the limitations of this life. This is the samsara. That is through how? The removing all the limitations. The Madhusudana Saraswati's beautiful commentary and Gurudev's commentary on that is so beautiful in that explanation of this verse. Gita Dhyanam. There it is said that once you remove all the encumbrances of our personality, the limitations, and then you get into that state where that is Advaita experience, that is Amrita Varshini. That Bhagavad Gita is giving the nectarine experience of that state where you come out of all the encumbrances, all the limitations. Then you carve out a personality by which you stay there in that state of oneness, that you see Sarvatma, Atmani, in all the Atmas you see yourself, and in you see all the Atmas. So that state of Sarvabhuta Hiderataha, that state of mind is the state of flight of meditating, the state of meditation or the flight of meditation. So it is like, the flight goes to the runway with all this the sounds and disturbances and all that till that you hold on to the seat and then sit praying and all that, let the flight take off smoothly. And the moment of that, the tire is left from the floor, you are into the bliss. So that particular feeling is what it is, the where of ever in the state of meditation. So to achieve that, what adjustments we have to do is being explained that Shujau deshe pradishtapya stiram asanam na atyachrutam uchridam na atinicham shailajina gushottaram, where you have to sit in a clean atmosphere and all these things, and the environment is created, the physical mode is developed, the mental state of munjannevam sadatmanam yogi niyadamanasa. So with that, and then brahmacharya vrate stitaha. And after doing that, what happens? You reach that state of perfect peace. So that in that state, you get into the transactions of the world. Nothing is going to affect you. So that is what is the purpose of our this point of meditation. So the what for we are doing this meditation has to be very clear. It is not for something which has to be achieved some later time, so that we do little small doses of meditation and then at the end of this life we will achieve something. It is not like that. So we have to this moment I have to come out of my encumbrances, the limitations of my life. That is my purpose. So here and now I have to do, and I have to remain in the state of meditation, irrespective of being in spite of being responsible to doing my duties of this particular life, the ashrama in which I am. So that is the take I would like to share. And for that also, then further, the next verse also talks about the tuning, like, when you get into a job and all that, you have the technical knowledge, you have the job and all these things, but in spite of all these things, you need some sort of tweaks to get onto higher levels, that type of tips which people used to give. So, don't be friendly with everyone. Don't make anyone resentful or anything, that, and you try to learn, you update, and so this type of tips. So like that. So this tip is about na ati asnada yogosti na cha ekantaha asnata anasnataha na cha ati sapnashilasa. Don't sleep too much, don't remain awake full time. So like that. So various tips are given to further develop what you are required to achieve, get that to that mode of meditative flight which you are taking on to. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you, Pradeep ji. We move now to Sanjay ji, Dr. Yadav.
Hari Om. We have two shloka, and the outset itself tells us something very funny. The 15th one is talking about, as Gurudev himself has said, the last lap in the technique of meditation. And the 16th one is suddenly talking about the diet. Now, when you're talking about the end of the meditation, and then you're talking directly about what is called as a transactional world, vyavahara, about the food. The question is, how do you reconcile these two almost elementary instruction and the most advanced instruction coming in succession? Apparently, it appears to be a fallacy or some amount of discord, disharmony. And when we see disharmony in Gita, usually we are in disharmony, not the Bhagavad Gita. So first thing first, Gurudev in the first 3 lines itself has called 15th shloka as the last lap of meditation. Why so? It is talking about Yunjan evam sada atmanam yogi niyatamanasah. Controlled in mind and balanced in mind. Why is it a repetition? Balanced in mind and controlled in senses or mind. One with controlled mind, one with balanced mind. Is the balanced mind not controlled mind? It is not. That is why there is no repetition. There is no dvirukti. Dvirukti is a dosha. And there is no dosha in Bhagavad Gita. So Yunjan Eva, as translated by Madhusudan Saraswati Maharaj as concentration, by our own Gurudeva as balanced mind, what are they talking about? When a warrior is taking the sword in the hand and is fighting, he is focusing in front at his enemy. But that doesn't mean that he is not aware of somebody on his back. So that means there is a very active thing that is going on on the frontal side, and on the posterior side, on the back also, he is keeping himself aware. Similarly, a meditator who had started his journey from object-based concentration is now has moved from object to the gross object to sukshma thing that is called Pancha Mahabhuta, Tanmatras. So first it was the gross object, bhutas, then Pancha Mahabhuta, Purna object, then Tanmatras, then Indriyas, and then Ahankar. These are all Salambana meditation. That is why it is called Sampradnyat, Pradnyayam iti. By knowing that, one who concentrates. So that means in the initial, it's an extremely difficult kind of meditation, but still called initial by Patanjali Maharaj, because now the language is being used for the advanced course. The one who started doing the meditation first starts from a gross object, then goes to the subtler aspect of the object called Tanmatras, then goes further to the station called Indriyas, which are Sashuddha Sattva Guna Bharita. Then he goes to his final assault called his Asmita or Ahankar or Shuddha Ahankar. Right from the beginning of Purusha, unfolding of Prakruti, then coming to Pradhana, then coming to Asmita, then coming to Pancha Mahabhuta Tanmatras, then coming to Pancha Mahabhutas, then coming to the Ashtada Prakruti. So all the 16 elements of the cascade of creation mentioned in Prakruti Udbhava by Patanjali Maharaj is the basis of this shloka. That is why Madhusudan Saraswati Maharaj, who normally gives barely couple of lines commentary, has given few pages of commentary for this particular shloka, completely replete with only and only Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Because if it is meditation, it has to be Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Our question is balanced in mind and controlled mind. Balanced in mind as far as the object of meditation is concerned, and controlled in mind as far as outward going vritti is concerned, called vyuthana. So vyuthana virodha is controlled mind. No entry for anything else other than what is being meditated upon is controlled mind. Balanced mind, by repositing the faculty of concentration on the object that is taken as the dheyam or the object of meditation, dheya. Balancing both. And balancing, why? Balancing meaning constantly repositing the vrittis that are coming in the mind on the object of meditation is yunjan eva sada. Sada, constant flow of pravrutti or vritti towards the object of meditation, like taila dharavat. Because meditation is a continuous flow of thought, the vritti. First of all, there are no thought on the object of meditation. When it is continuously there, sometimes with higher concentration, sometimes losing the concentration. No, balanced, steady, continuous awareness on the mind of the object of meditation without any outward influences or vrittis coming in from the world of impressions or sanskaras, smritis, as well as the objects or the panchendriyas, whatever they perceive, they are all cut off. That is controlled mind. So the one who has done this, one where there is no vithana sanskara, no outward going, controlled mind, and the balanced mind, completely, continuously focused on the object of meditation, he gets what he gets. Bhagavan says he gets shantim, nirvana paramam, mat samsthanam adhigacchati. Three things he gets. He gets shanti, the yogi gets shanti. First of all, if he gets three things, then they may not be same. Otherwise, again, there will be dvirukti. Dvirukti is not there in the Shastra. That means these three have to be different state. Statelessness is the ultimate bastion. The yogi is still in the process. He has reached the border of the ocean, but he hasn't dissolved himself in the ocean. So he gets three things. And first thing is shantim. What is a shantim? Shantim is an attribute. He is reaching for attribute-less, but he is going to get an attribute of attribute-less. How can attribute-less be with attribute? That is precisely what you require a realized soul like Gurudeva to explain. So the last few lines of the commentary of Gurudeva on this shloka is to understand it requires a different spiritual competency. Gurudeva says the experience gets slowly acted upon and digested into the very substance of the truth, whose fragrance is peace. What it means? The fragrance of a thing is an attribute of the thing, not the thing. So shantim is an essential attribute, but it is attributeless. How it can have attribute? It is essential attribute felt by the person who is reaching there, although the one without attribute doesn't have shanti as attribute. Why? Because codifying into one attribute would be completely rejecting the truth. Truth by itself is avikari. Vikrut is Prakruti. That which is neither Prakruti nor Vikruti is Purusha. So if he is attributeless, I feel the attribute when I reach close to it. The food that is deliciously cooked, the food itself does not smell its fragrance. But the one who is eating, for whom food is a different thing than him and eating is a procedure, the first thing he feels is the smell of the food. Similarly, the meditator, when he is reaching to the ultimate effulgence and going to be one, because after Shanti, he is going to be at a place where Shanti itself will lose its significance. Then what is that stage? That is the stage when such attributes are blown out. Blown out, Nirvana. How the word Nirvana has come? Nihi. Nihi is negation. Nissanga, without sanga, without, out. So Nihi is out. Va means to blow. Va is to blow. And Vana. Vana is a roop. So Vana is blown. Blow, blown. Va, Vana. Nihi, Vana. Out, blow. Nihi plus Va, Refade Sandhi, Nirvana. Nirvana is to blow out. Word actually appearing first in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. then picked up by Gautam Buddha Maharaj himself, and becoming extremely popular in Buddhist literature, blowing out. The same thing what we call in Advaita as moksha. In moksha, the concept of bandha is taken into consideration. So releasing bandha is moksha. Muncha dhatu. Muncha is to release. Ahankaradi dehantan bandhan ajnana kalpitan. All the bandhas are ahankaran, dehantan, bandhan, ajnana kalpitan. So when ajnanam is over, swaswarupa avabodhena, that means swaswarupa avabodha is moksha. In Nirvana also it is the same concept. Then why Buddha used a different word? The different word used was because of the shunyavada. After all the attributes are gone, what remains? Nothing remains. Buddhism. After all attributes are gone, what remains? That which is positive only remains, Advaita. The difference between Buddhism and Hinduism is at the last altar of meditation, as far as experiential description of that state is concerned, in one language it is called water, in another language it is called tanni, in another language it is called niram, in another language it is called jalam. The description differs, the water remains the same. So blown out, meaning blown out actually is coming from the four noble truths of Buddhism. Dukkha, dukkha samujaya, nirodha. That third nirodha of the four noble truths is related to nibbana. Nibbana is nirvana in Buddhism. Here the word nirvana is used not by borrowing from Buddhism, because Buddhism has borrowed it from Vedas. So it is borrowed from our own Vedas, which means blown out. What is blown out? The ahankar itself. Your presence here as separate entity is only because of the upadhi. The upadhi is coming because of ajnana. Ajnana is gone. So, who is gone? Don't know. Where gone? Don't know. What happened? Don't know, because it is not knowing. After the Parashantim, he enters into Nirvana, Paramam. And what is that state? What is that station? Bhagavan says, that station where he reaches Mat Samstham. That has originated from me, Mat Panchami. See, again, Vakaranam is important while understanding this. As Pradeepji rightly pointed out, Yunjan is a Shatranta Pratyay. Shatranta Pratyay is for present continuous. While he was eating, he sang a song. This is present continuous. Yunjan eva, while balancing the mind in the meditation, he controlled his mind also. So present continuous, two actions together, of which the first is continuing, the other one is then effected. The combination is called Shatranta Pratyaya, which is used for the Paraspayapadi Pratyaya, because Atmanipadi would be Shanach Pratyaya. After Shantim, after Nirvanan Paramam, where does it stay? Mat Samstham. That which has originated from me, Mat Panchami, from me. Vrukshat Parnani Patanti, from the tree the leaves are falling. Mat Samstham, Samstha, a sthiti that has originated from me. Why? I am Paramatman. And that which has originated from me has to be me. So one is, you will reach Arjuna where I am. This is one way of saying. Or Arjuna, you and me will not be different. So 3 stages as 3 results described in the second line of the shloka. Shantihi, Nirvanam Paramam. Why Nirvanam alone? Why not only Nirvana? Why Nirvanam Paramam? Because you do blow out intermittently in a Sampradnat Samadhi. There is a state in the Samadhi itself when, for the time being, you may be blown out, only to come back. Nirvanam Paramam is permanently blown out. Permanently blown out. If permanently blown out, then how is it Ramakrishna Paramahansa, after permanently blown out, again came back and he was talking, eating everything? How a realized soul can then again be into this world? The difference is, after reaching Bhagavan, when you come down, it is coming down as Bhagavan himself. You are no more a Upadhi Kruta Jiva. Then you are an absolute barren instrument in the hand of Lord. So what happens? Whatever you are seen like doing, meaning Gurudeva was taking Jnana Yajna. So we all said Gurudeva's name was Balkrishna Menon, then he became Chinmayanand, then he was taking classes. Sir, absolutely false. Absolutely incorrect. Because Chinmayananda was born when he was initiated. Then Balkrishna Menon was dead. Chinmayananda was dead when the realization took place. After that, we called him for convenience Chinmayananda. Who was he? He was nothing else but the instrument in the hand of God. So God wanted those pious souls to learn Bhagavad Gita. So an instrument and a mouth called Chinmayananda was used by the Bhagavan. So this is called, once we go to Mat Samsthanam, Punaragamanam. Now, Punaragamanam could be of 2 types. Same existing body, well oiled and reused, or Jivan Mukta, you're gone and you again come down specifically for God's purpose, called Avatar, Avatariti, iti, Avatara. That is how this shloka takes us to the highest possible field. Now, question is, Gurudeva has written, the experiencer gets slowly acted upon and digested into the very substance of the truth, whose fragrance was peace, which the dying ego of the meditator, in its gasping delusion, because now the ahankar is going to get over, seems to experience at the gateway of his real divine nature. Question is, he is written is out of experience, but can it be true? Or is it that Gurudeva has written something just for the sake of English? That is why we should read other biographies. Ramakrishna Paramahansa has literally described this state. And he has described this state as, in the height of meditation, I saw an absolute, illustrious, effulgent, white ocean of Tej, whose waves were constantly coming up and going down. It was spread all over. And I saw Mother Kali dragging me on one side with her hand, holding my hand very tight. And then she told me, you have to be Bhava Abhimukha, Bhava Abhimukha, and stay in this world. That is how, with great difficulty, Ramakrishna Paramahansa Thakur stayed in this world for the worldly activities, because every time a little bit of mistake and he would be going into the samadhi. Mistake. Our problem is we never get to taste the samadhi. We are always in samsara. Realized soul's problem is By mistake, they are here, otherwise they are there. Then comes the next shloka, which talks directly about the diet. When it talks about the diet, by upalakshanam, it is talking about your behavior in this world, transactional world or the vyavaharika satta. Now we have come from the adhyatmic satta, meditational world, to vyavaharik satta. In vyavaharik satta, moderation. This is nothing else but the same thing as Madhyama Marga of Buddha. Gautam Buddha initially followed Jain Dharma and went on severe austerities, not eating anything, to an extent that he was skin and bone, and he fainted and became unconscious. Then he was given milk by a girl who was tending to the ship. Her name was Sujata. A little milk was given, and then he started thinking extreme of fasting cannot be the way. That is how he later on evolved a philosophy of moderation, Madhyama Marga. Now this Madhyama Marga which is given here is, because you are Dehadhari, you are having a body. So what you do is you follow your Vyavaharika Vishwa behavior in moderation. If Dehadhari you are, you will need food. Anna Vastra Nivara. Everybody who is born on this planet has to have that. Every jiva. Now, how much anna, how much vastra, how much nivara? Because these three basic things have been multiplied and multiplied and multiplied and multiplied, and the world is created of our today's world. The entire mall that we visit is nothing else but the highly exaggerated state of anna, vastra, nivara. We created the need of travel. We created the need of going from one place to another place. We created the need of having some women as my spouse. We created all these creations of ours have increased our needs. For every need, there is a provision that is needed. The provisions have gone ahead, and this is all what is called as parigraha. So that is why there is no end to the parigraha. There is a tunic you require when you're talking in satsanga. But if it has got an om on the side, it looks nice. This is called extension. A spectacle is supposed to make you see the lenses. Gandhiji had one. He used it for umpteen number of years. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel had one spectacle which was broken here, and he used to use a thread to tie it up when he was Deputy Prime Minister and Home Minister of Government of India. However, we require at least 9 frames of this one, because this one looks better, and especially that has got the color on the side, all extension. What it means is moderation is the key for everything. The food itself is the major problem of medicine these days. Colored food, Mexican, Italian, Chinese. No one tells us to have these foods. The food is for maintenance of my physique or physiology. Now I have been operated on my heart because of that stupid food, yet I am eating the same food. Fools have no place in Bhagavad Gita. Talking of meditation and not able to follow even the control on the food is the biggest travesty of spirituality in India as well as everywhere. In the satsang itself, feeling jealous of somebody who is speaking, somebody who is not speaking, he's speaking too much, he's speaking less. What kind of satsang are we talking about? Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha. This is what we say at the end. Do we really mean it? So it starts first from the individual himself. Moderation in food, moderation in sleep, as told in Shatapatha Brahmana, in the oldest of the one. Ardham Ashanasya, Patanjali Maharaj says, Ardham Ashanasya Savyanjanasya trutiyam udakasya tu vayoho sancharanartham tu chaturtam avasheshayat. Half food, a quarter of water, a quarter empty for the vayu to move. Our problem is after every food we need a small break for the sleep, because it is filled, the tummy is filled to such an extent that you can't even walk around. And after that we say, how about Bhagavad Gita Satsang? Sir, these two things do not match each other. The behavior and the knowledge that is obtained, these are two different streams, they never meet each other. That is why, and the Upalakshanam that is mentioned in this shloka is for all that can be devoured or eaten. So it is not only the food, all the indriyas, aharas. What you see by your eyes is the ahara of eyes. What you hear, what you listen. Even the moderation in satsanga. What is moderation in satsanga? Every now and then, this Panchami, that Saptami, that Ashtami, that Ekadashi, that Are. All right, sir. One Guru Purnima is fine, one Ramajanmi is fine. But what about you acting upon it? Then all of a sudden we come and say that, no, from tomorrow onwards, I'm not going to eat. Extremes indicate absolute immature, imbalanced state of mind. Think and act, don't act and think. Sleep. Meet ahari, the one who is like a krusha, yoga, always in Gorakshanatha Samvita, it is written that a yogi cannot be plump. It is a different thing that later on after the Kundalini Jagruti, even the Kundalini starts eating the flesh. So yogis are always lanky, bound to be. And let's not make it as a general rule. Because if somebody says Shivananda Maharaj, you might say that, oh, he was not a yogi. Completely false. In general, for a student, in the Vidyarthi Panchalakshanam, Shwana Nidra, sleep like a dog. He's asleep and immediately is awake, alert. A minimum number of hours of sleep. In fact, number of hours that you sleep indicates the amount of mental exhaustion that we are carrying with ourselves. So lesser the outside influence on the mind, less sleep is required. Different thing that the modern medicine has already found out, that the sleep is nothing else but the scavenging of the dead tissue debris of brain cells, which is the result of multineuronal excitement that happens throughout the day. So moderation being the key, not too much of sleep, not always awake, not eating too much, not fasting too much. So let's keep the moderation in Vyavahara and focus more on the higher ideals. That is the message of the Gita in two shlokas, one talking of the highest level of meditation, what is happening, another at the Vyavaharika level, what he should be doing, and this should be in harmony with each other for the total integration of life. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Any questions for today's discussion? Then we'll start closing prayers. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukh Bhag Bhavet. Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We move to the pledge now. We stand as one family, bound to each other with love and respect. We serve as an army, courageous and disciplined, ever ready to fight against all low tendencies and false values within and without us. We live honestly the noble life of sacrifice and service, producing more than what we consume and giving more than what we take. We seek the Lord's grace to keep us on the path of virtue, courage, and wisdom. May thy grace and blessings flow through us to the world around us. We believe that the service of our country is the service of the Lords of Lords, and the devotion to the people is the devotion to the Supreme Self. We know our responsibilities. Give us the ability and courage to fulfill them. Om Tat Sat. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you, Manish.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om.